Welcome to the Neutral Corner. I'm Coach Jay. The Golden Boy is at work today. He's not. He won't be here with us today. What I'm going to do is a little different from what we've done in the past. I participate a great deal in with Reddit on their amateur boxing subreddit. It's one of the few. If you're a boxer, you want to belong to a community of boxers. The amateur boxing subreddit, is actually a pretty good forum. It's one of the few that isn't very toxic, so I'm pretty happy participating there. But what I do there is, as a coach and a referee, I go on and I critique people's fights and sparring, sometimes even bag work and shadow boxing, to help these young boxers improve and get better. So that's what I thought we'd do today. Let me see if I can find this young fellow's name. So the fellow that we're going to be looking at today is called Dr. Birdman. That's his Reddit name. He's been boxing for about 12 months, and he wants us to give our opinion. Before we get to anything, I want to remind everybody, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us. It helps us a great deal with what we do, and we can get better videos, better guests out to you. All right, well, let's get to it. Here we go. So this is what we're looking at. This young man, the one in the black on the left-hand side, is who we're looking at, Dr. Birdman. And he's been boxing, like I say, for about 12 months. So let's take a look. This is the beginning of their round. I'm going to pause frequently if I find a point that I need to explain, which everybody who's been watching me knows I'm pretty wordy, so I like people to understand what we're looking at here. So here we go. Right off the bat, I'm going to play this again for you. Right off the bat, when he retreats, this is a common beginner mistake. And what he's doing is, when he leans back, when he retreats rather, so the guy in the white is going to attack him, he's going to go back. Now watch as he leans back, as he moves back rather, how he gets tall. You've got to stay in your stance. You're going to stay in your crouch, and that way, if he catches you, your weight distribution is proper. You can return fire. Watch how he gets tall. Right there. And as he gets tall, he exposes his chin. That is not a good place to be. Stay in the pocket. Keep your head in that crouch and retreat. If you're using your feet for defense, you don't need to lean back as well. All right. Let's take a look here. I've already seen something else. And if you can see here, when he moves forward, he reaches with his punches, like right there. He's reaching too far. Leans back. As a point to note, technical difficulty. As a point to note, when you lean like that to reach for somebody, you're leaning over the front of your stance. So your head is over your front foot. When your head is over your front foot, it makes it incredibly difficult to get back in time. So if you strike, they strike, you can't get back, you can't slip, because all your weight is over that front foot. So if you want your head to go back, it's pretty much just gravity pulling you, because you got nothing to push off of. So you push, So if you're reaching, that doesn't help your defense. It makes retreating even harder, and it opens you up to get hit. What you should be doing is called leading with your feet, making sure your feet are under you at all times. So when I punch, if I'm too far away, my feet have to get forward. Don't reach to make the extra distance. Move your feet. The next thing I see is right here. I say this to my fighters all the time. Let's take this back just a little bit and watch when he slips. Right there. If you can see how deep it was that he slipped, look how deep he is there. You only need to slip just enough, just a fist's width. That's all you're slipping, is just a fist. He's moved so far. Yes, your primary objective is met. You've made the guy miss, but you've also taken yourself out of position for any real counterattack and kind of opened yourself up to subsequent attacks that are going to be very difficult for you to string defenses together from this position. Just slip. Boom. You're just slipping from here to here. That's it. Here. You don't need to take your head completely out of the shot like he is down there. His head is below his opponent's waist. That's not where you want to be. All right, let's continue. Okay, a little very hesitant. Oh, so I see that he doesn't keep his arms up when he punches. He keeps his hands up relatively high when he's not punching, but he seems to be making the beginner mistake of switching defense and offense on and off. It's like an on and off switch. You'll see beginners, they go defense and they look relatively good, and then they go offense. There's no in between. They're not merging the two together so you can slip and move with your hands up and still fire back. He's still clearly on the defense is a different part of boxing than offense. Because he's not able to string those together. He's turning it on and off. So his hands come down when he's punching, which leaves him open. They come back up, which is nice. That's nice to see. I love the fact, oh, there you go, big, but you see, he missed there. Slipped to the outside, missed. If he'd taken a little step forward with his front foot and slipped less extreme, that would have been a great counter shot. And I love the fact that he thought about it. I love a lot of what he's doing. I like that he's using the defensive hierarchy. He's trying to use his feet first to keep out of range. But I think as a beginner, range just doesn't come naturally to him yet. So some of these things, the subtleties are lost, but I like his instincts. They're listening to the coach there for a second. His hand defense is pretty good. But generally what I like to see is if you're going to use hand defense, remember you're in the pocket. You're in range to hit him. He's in range to hit you. Use hand defense, clear the punch him back. Don't go block, and then move away. What was the point of that? Why not just move away? If you're going to block them, strike back. If you're going to move away, move away. You don't need to do both. I like his positioning here. I don't like that he gets tall whenever his opponent attacks, because that leaves his chin completely exposed. Even when he's using hand defense, you got to keep that head in the pocket. Good hand defense. Here's a good point to note. What he just did is a pet peeve of mine. He's slips a little too far, whatever. This time I think he used hand defense. So he cleared the front punch and he came back with his own. The problem is counter punches are for damage and they're to send a message. And that message is, pardon my language, get the fuck off me. You want to change the way they box with your counter punching. If you're coming out of a slip or coming out of a defense with a jab, you're never going to change the way he boxes. A jab is not enough power to make me stay off you, to make most boxers stay off of you. So if you're talking about a trade, I'm trading 1s and 2s and 3s for a counterpunch 1. I'll make that trade. Don't counterpunch with a jab. The only exception is if you slip to the left if you're right-handed, right if you're left-handed. If I'm slipping this way, it puts my lead shoulder in the rear, and then when I fire my jab, it's almost like a cross. So, I mean, there are exceptions, but this wasn't one of them. All right, let's continue looking. Yeah, he gets tall whenever he gets pressed. Footwork is not bad, but he does step across with his front foot sometimes. But this is natural. He's not super. There you go. He got tall and he got made to pay for it. Now he's staying down a little bit. That makes sense. Better. Again, he gets tall when his opponent tries to punch. I think that's the biggest thing. His feet aren't really anchored super well. Yeah, a little reaching. All right, and that is the end of that round. So I guess if I'm gonna go through it here, I guess what I would say to this young fellow, what did we call him again? Dr. Birdman. All right, Dr. Birdman, if I'm going to give you 3 hints here. The first one is you reach. You reach way too far. You lean out over your stance where your head is now over your front foot or beyond it. It no longer maintains your balance. All of your weight is forward. So it's very difficult to try and come back when your weight is forward like that. All I'm pushing forward, I gotta to get back. So it makes you get tall, which you do naturally anyway, which isn't good. Uh, your punches are going to lack power because they're not on the structure that they should be. You're leaning way forward. The line from your punch to your feet, pardon me, should be relatively straight, not bent like that. Your upper body is bent trying to reach for it. Anytime you make a structure like this, it's like a spring. And some of that power is going to be lost because of that spring. That every time you hit, that spring is going to activate, and it takes away some of your power as it goes back into your stance. If it's nice and solid, it gets reflected from your stance back into the target. So you're getting tall, don't do that. You're reaching, lead with your feet. Get your feet in range. Remember, boxing is not about these. You can win a fight. I'm sure there are people laughing at that, but you can win a fight with punches that are that stupid. If your defense is on point and your feet are on point, your punches matter less. I mean, you still have to connect, but boxing is about your feet, not your hands. When you're trying to hit and you're too far away for this, don't reach. Get your feet forward. Move those feet forward so that you can now reach them. That's called leading with your feet. Lead with your feet. What else have I got written here for you? Yes. When you're retreating and sometimes when you're punching, I'm going to show you this way. You'll punch and you get tall as opposed to staying in the pocket and punching here. You're going, look how much, my chin is in there. Look how much more open I am up here. You do the same thing when you're backing up. You back up, instead of backing up with your feet, boom, you're backing up like this. And my chin, again, it's an effort to stay out of range, which is natural to everybody. These are all things I've seen every beginner boxer do, but they can be very, very dangerous. You expose your chin like that, you're going to get hit. Your slips, way too wide, way too wide. Find yourself a mirror in the gym. Find a seam or find something in the background that takes up about half your face, a pole, or even if you draw a line in tape, if your coach will let you do that. It's a really good tool to have that line of tape on the mirror so you can go practice slips. You'll find this line and you're just going to slip so that the line's over here, fully off your face, but you're not way over here. Slip the other way, should be here. Boom, boom. That's where that line is going to be. That'll help you slip small, make them miss small, and then you can make them pay big. You can't miss big and make them pay big. You'll make them miss big, and then they'll miss small. You're going to make them pay small. It's very difficult to do. Make them miss small so you can make them pay big. All right? You drop your hands when you're punching. You don't punch like this. You punch like this. Now, as far as all the other mistakes, that's the least of my concerns, because when you're punching is when the guy's engaged. But if you've got a tough guy in front of you who will throw when you're throwing, you're in trouble. You're going to be throwing this way, and he's going to be connecting too, and it's going to be a matter of, if he's staying disciplined punching and you're not staying disciplined, who's going to take more punches and end up losing? All right? That comes from, by the way, your inability to read range properly. And I think a lot of your mistakes can be brought down to that one thing. I think you should do some more footwork drills. Your feet are relatively disciplined, but they're not very smooth or explosive yet. So keep on it. But like I say, the major part here is range. Try and do some range drills where you know exactly when you're in range. Measure your range on the heavy bag. You step tiny bits closer until you think you can hit it. Can I hit it? Damn it, I can't. Get too close. Boom. You stop your jab here. If you can see, my arm is shaped like this when I punch like that. And you did that a few times. You crocodile armed your punches. Remember, if you're throwing a jab and your jab is crocodile armed, what are you in the range for? Uppercuts, hooks, right hands, overhands. You're giving them range on their most powerful punches with your weakest punch. Okay? So we don't jab like this. We read the range properly and jab like that. That way, I'm only in range of your jab. All right, I think I've covered that pretty well. The major issue is range. Start trying to drill range and getting a better understanding of range, because that really is the bulk of all your problems. Even the standing up, the getting tall when you're retreating, all that stuff is born from you trying to take your head out of danger range when you feel in trouble. So if you can get a better sense of range, keep using those feet. I love the fact, as a beginning boxer, you're not trying to be Ali slipping everything, or Mayweather with the old Philly shell. I love that you're trying to stay within yourself. I love it. I love that you're trying to use your feet first to get out of danger. But remember, I saw you do it a couple times too. Here's a rule for you. So about your range, you're only ever 2 steps away from the ropes. 2 steps. Next step, you're going to be on the ropes. Anywhere you are in the ring, you might as well assume that. So you can go 2 steps back before you have to move laterally. I don't think I saw you move laterally once in that fight or in that sparring session. So slip, take a step back. Now you got to go laterally. Move back. You got to go laterally. It doesn't matter. 2 defensive moves laterally. All right. Well, that was a really good. I really enjoyed that little video. I hope that you guys got something out of it. Usually, if it's something that I mentioned to one fighter, it's something that 20 fighters have a question about. So I'm hoping that by doing this, you can get a look and maybe see some insight into your own skills. If not, send them my way. Train hard.